Welcome back everybody. Today we're going to do a quick video on how to clean and lubricate your Taurus 709 pistol. I realize this is a gun that a lot of new, sometimes first time shooters pick up, so we're going to walk you through the process as if it's your first gun. So enough yapping for me, let's get on to it. Before getting into the actual cleaning and lubrication, I'm going to go over what we're using here real quick. This is break-free CLP in both of these bottles. This is just a repurposed old body spray bottle from my wife that we're going to spray it with. And then we have these little needle bottles here. You can pick these up on Amazon. We'll drop a link down below for folks who want to use that. But I buy the big thing of break-free and then put it in smaller containers because it's more cost-effective that way. We also have this thing here. It's a tipped-in polymer pick. The benefit of these is that, number one, they're not too expensive. Number two, they get into little crevices where normal tools can't get into, and they're polymer, so they're not going to scratch up your gun like the metal ones would. And then we just have this little pistol rod here. One should come with your pistol. It's very similar. This is a Glock one. I just have it on hand. And then we're also going to use this super technical old toothbrush here. So that's pretty much it. That's what we're going to use, and we're going to get it done. So first step in the process is we're going to drop our magazine. We're going to hit the mag release button, pull your magazine out. We're going to lock the pistol to the rear by pushing up here on the slide lock lever. At that point, we're going to inspect the pistol, make sure there's nothing in the chamber, and there is not. At this point, we're going to orient the pistol in a safe direction. Press the trigger. At this point, we're going to pull back slightly on the slide, and it should release when we go forward. Now, we have our recoil spring. We're just going to pull that straight out. Then we're going to pull our barrel up into the rear, and that is the disassembly of the pistol. The first thing I like to do is put some CLP on a piece of t-shirt that we have here. You can also buy patches specifically for the caliber of your gun. I just like to use cut up t-shirts because they work just fine as long as you cut them down to the right size, and you'll be good to go. So I run that through, and the reason is CLP, break-free CLP, does break down carbon as it is in contact with it. So I'm just going to let that sit in there, and it's going to break down the carbon while we do the rest of the gun. Take the slide and orient it downward. Put a spray of CLP in the back here and then up front. At this point, I'm just going to take the toothbrush, get it into all the big areas, and you're doing a couple things here. You're, number one, moving that CLP around, getting it into all the different surfaces on the gun there. Plus, the brush itself is loosening up some of that caked on carbon as well. The reason we want to orient the slide down is because the firing pin channel there, you want to try to avoid getting oil in there as much as you can. And if we're brushing and getting in the firing pin hole there, it could definitely drop some in there. It can drop it back here as well, but we try to avoid that as well. I want to pay special attention to the extractor, which we'll show you here a little bit later on in the video when we're really getting it clean. But we're going to set that aside and move on to the barrel. Same thing here, just a little bit of CLP on there, and just work it all around. Paying attention to the lugs here. You want those to be clean because they are a friction surface when the pistol is firing. Set that aside. We'll do the same here on our recoil spring guide rod. Set that aside. Now here for the frame. We're going to do basically the same thing. One spray back here, one up here. And you don't need to really get too much down there in your mag well, because eventually, as we'll show you later on, we want that to actually remain dry because there's simply no need for oil to be in your mag well. So you want to definitely check the feed ramp there. Make sure we clean that up. And we'll set that down and move on. Now with a dry piece of t-shirt, we're just going to basically wipe everything up. You can stick it in there with your finger, get all the big spots that you can reach. Now we're going to use that tipped-in polymer pick in there to get into the spots that we can't reach normally with our finger, and just kind of work it around. Make sure we're getting all that CLP up. Again, even if you actually left a little bit on there, which you always will, there'll always be a little bit of CLP left on the metal surface. That's a good thing because it will continue to protect the surface and lubricate it a little bit. So wipe that up. I'm going to pay particular attention rather to the slide rails in there, because that's the friction surface there when the gun is firing. Make sure we clean everything up. Same back here. I'm going to get down in the striker channel there, but you don't really want to force anything where it doesn't want to go because there's just no need. And really, it doesn't do you any good either to do so. We're going to wipe the breech face there. And again, like I had mentioned earlier, we're going to pay special attention here to the extractor. Take your little cloth and work your pick up under it. You want that extractor to be good and clean so that way you can get a hold of the rim on the cartridge when it's firing and get good positive extraction during the operation of the firearm. With the barrel, I'm just going to wipe down all the outside surfaces there. It should come off relatively easily. And one thing to point out is just how clean you need to get your firearm is kind of relative, I guess you could say, to the user. What you see here is kind of a quick way to do it that I'm showing you, just getting the big areas, but I'm not going to get everything sparkling and shiny clean. Some folks really like to do that. That's cool if that's you. Feel free to do so, but it's not really how I do it because, number one, it's not really needed either. So we're going to run the patch through the barrel a couple more times. And basically, when you're looking through the barrel and you're looking at your rifling down there, you just want to make sure that there's not a whole bunch of gunk in there and the rifling looks clean. Once you get to that point, you're pretty much good. Wipe off the crown here a little bit. And we'll set that aside. We're going to do the same thing here with our recoil spring. Again, just kind of wipe down the outside. And we're going to call that good. Now I'm going to take a patch and work into the frame here. Again, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to try to get all of the CLP out of the magazine well here because it doesn't need to be in there. And we're going to take our Tipton Palmer pick and kind of work in all these crevices here with the piece of t-shirt. And we're going to get up under these little metal inserts that are on there, because again, that's where the inner rails on your slide are riding during operation. You guys can see that that little feed ramp there was black when we started out. Now it's nice and shiny and polished. So same thing, we're going to get back up underneath the metal inserts here on the rear. Make sure we clean those out on both sides. And again, anywhere that there's springs like we have back here, you just don't want to force anything. You can get in there and wipe up anything you can get to, but just don't force it because, again, there's just no need. In terms of lubrication, if you've used your pistol a little bit, you'll start to see wear marks in certain places. That's where you want to put your lubrication. So we're going to put a drop up here and kind of work that around with our finger. Make sure it kind of gets spread around. Also going to do so right here on the back of the slide where it is wearing. And we're going to take our barrel and basically put just a few drops on there. And we're going to work that all the way around there with our finger. And we're also going to put a drop back here on the lugs. And we're just going to put the barrel back in the slide. For the recoil spring, the CLP that's still on there from us spraying it earlier should be just fine for it. I'll push that forward and then down so that way it locks into place. Now at this point, for lubricating the rails, you can either do it in the slide here or just put a drop on each rail. Either way works just fine, but since we have a needle bottle, we're going to take full advantage of it and put it down there in the rails. And again, if we angle it down, that CLP will sort of run forward and work its way down. At this point, we're going to put our slide back on, making sure that these metal inserts in the frame go in the slide rails, and slide it on back. There we go. Lock that one to the rear. Let it go home. At this point, we're going to function check the pistol, so point in a safe direction, pull, should reset. It does. Of course, this one has the double action capability, but as you guys know who own the pistol, when you actually fire it from single action, the trigger pull is a little bit different, so you should feel the difference. Put it on safe. It should not fire. And at this point, your pistol is ready to go, either back into your carry rotation, back into your safe, or back out to the range. If you guys have any questions about what we did here in today's video, you can always post those down below in the comments section. You can also post them over at my Facebook page. That's generally speaking the best way to get in touch with me. If you guys are new here and just found the channel through this video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you like what you see. And I hope to see all of you in the next video.